So, you want to reach Diamond, do you? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to instantly become a better player at Overwatch. So the first tip is, buy a quality headset. Make sure the headset that you buy also has a microphone. Listen, if you don't have a headset, you're at a serious disadvantage. I can't even tell you how many games I've won by just hearing where enemies are at. If you're able to, go to Options, Sound, and turn Auby Atmos on. Okay, now if you have a headset with a microphone, make sure that you're calling stuff out. If someone's flanking you, if one of the enemies has an ult, anything that you think is important, make sure you're calling it out to your team. You should also try to learn different terms people use when they're playing. Like if someone says Lucio's 1, that means Lucio's 1 shot away from being killed. Make sure that you're learning all the basic terms. I'm going to consider those tip 1 and 2. Tip number 3, swap if you're not doing anything. Listen, if you're a damage that hasn't killed anyone with your last 3 lives, maybe it's time to swap. Maybe your team's really bad, but it doesn't matter. If you keep playing the same thing and expect a different result, it's not going to happen. The same thing if you're playing a healer and getting killed right away over and over again. Swap to another healer, and if your team's not going to protect you, just play a tank or damage. Even if your team rages at you for switching off a healer, you're going to make more of an impact now than you would be if you were just dying right away over and over again. Ask someone else to switch to a healer, and if they won't, just don't worry about it. Tip number 4. When asking somebody to swap heroes, talk about what your team needs or talk about countering an enemy hero. If you say swap heroes, you're not doing anything. Or even if you ask someone to please swap heroes, they're going to hear this as you calling them a bad player. 9 times out of 10, they will not swap if you do this. Instead, say something like, we need somebody to deal with the Widowmaker. Roadhog, can you please play Winston? Instead of them thinking you're blaming them, now they think you're asking them to play a key role to beat the enemy team. This is the best way to ask somebody to swap, but obviously it won't work every time. Tip number 5, watching the kill feed. You may not realize it, but watching the kill feed is extremely important. It allows you to know who's dead on your team and who's dead on the enemy team. Now, I understand that it's difficult to pay attention to the kill feed when you're in the middle of a team fight. However, you should be using your peripherals or glancing at it every once in a while. In a high intensity moment, you may not need to know exactly which members of the enemy team are dead, but it's important that you know how many members of your team are dead and how many members of their team are dead. This allows you to evaluate your situation. This will allow you to answer questions like, do you use ult, or do you save it for the next team fight? Alright, well, those are all the tips I have for you right now. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to my channel if they're helpful.
Finals.